If you've watched part 1 of this series, you already know how I found my first part-time job in Australia and how those jobs completely changed my life. But here's the truth, just applying for jobs isn't enough. Employers in Australia receive dozens of applications for the same role. So how do they actually decide who to hire? They're not just looking at who applied first or who has the best resume. They're actually looking for people with the right skills and attitude. And the best part, you don't need years of experience to actually build these skills. You can start working on them today. And this video is all about those skills. The ones that will actually make you stand out when you apply for a job, help you perform well when you start working, and even make you the person managers want to promote or give more shifts to. And I know exactly how important these skills are because when I first came to Australia in 2018, I didn't have them. I was nervous, I was shy, I was completely unsure about how to navigate the workplace here. There were actually times when I thought, who would want to hire me? I don't even know how things work here. But step by step, I learned how to communicate confidently. I learned how to adapt with completely new environments. I worked on how to work well with teams and how to actually stay strong when things don't go my way, and every time I improved the skill, more doors opened. So by the end of this video, you will have a complete idea of how the top 4 skills employers in Australia look for in part-time workers, how to start building these skills, and even if you've never worked here before. Real life examples from my own journey so you can see exactly how each skill actually made a difference. And honestly, some of these are so simple that you'll wonder why nobody ever told you about them before. So whether you're an international student or a new immigrant or someone just looking for casual work, watch this video until the end because these skills won't just help you get a part-time job, they'll actually also make your life in Australia so much more easier. Let's start with number 1 skill that can literally make or break your chances of getting hired. Very obvious one, communication and customer service. If there's only one skill that can actually make or break your chances to land a part-time job in Australia, it is your communication and customer service skill. This applies whether you're working in a restaurant or in a retail store or at a call center or just even at your university or volunteering. Employers here really value people who can interact well with their customers, colleagues and managers. So when I kind of first arrived, this was a big challenge even for me. I was very nervous, I was very shy, I wasn't sure of the cultural norms of Australia and I didn't feel confident speaking up. But over time, I realized that employers don't expect you to be perfect. They just want to see a friendly face, a friendly person, someone approachable and someone kind of willing to learn. Now, why this skill matters so much is, think about it. If you're working in a cafe and a customer walks in, you are the face of the business. If you greet them warmly, listen to their needs and actually handle with care, handle their order with care, they are more likely to come back, and that's why employers hire people who can connect with others. I think it's kind of the same when you're interacting with your team. If you communicate well with your team, your manager trusts you with more responsibilities and that's how you get promotions. And then your colleagues also enjoy working with you, that people like you and your team actually rely on you. When I worked at that Italian restaurant that I mentioned in part 1, I used to feel really nervous taking customers' orders. I was worried if I'd make mistakes or not understanding their accents, but I kind of learned to ask politely if I didn't understand something. I would just, kind of smile and always thank customers for their patience. There was this one night I still remember at the restaurant, I was just packing up and I had to juggle with multiple tables. I kind of made this small mistake with an order, but instead of panicking, I, politely apologized, corrected it, and quickly made sure that the customers felt that they were looked after and also gave them a free dessert after asking to the owner. They appreciated it so much that they kind of left me a tip and told the manager that they were really happy with my service. So, moments like these actually taught me that communication isn't about being flawless and, just talking really nicely. It's actually about being genuine and professional, even when things go wrong, and things go wrong all the time. So how can you actually build this skill? Even with no experience, the good news is that you can start practicing communication and customer skills right now. Here are some of the few ways. You can practice speaking up in everyday situations. For example, when you buy something at a store, try making a small talk with the cashier. Ask how their day is going. If you're kind of on a public transport and someone looks lost, offer to help. These small interactions can actually help you build your own confidence. Join kind of a university or a club, and This will again give you a chance to meet new people, work in teams, and practice English in real life situations. So volunteering at events in uni is also a great way to show employers that you were proactive. You can use polite phrases and use your active listening skills. I feel like people in Australia actually appreciate good manners. Simple phrases like thank you, excuse me, no worries can actually go a long way. You can actually also role play some scenarios with your friends. Ask a friend to pretend like a customer and you can practice taking their order or helping them in a store. If you're nervous about interviews, practicing common questions out loud in front of a mirror or even recording yourself will help. Watching and learning. When you're at a cafe or a store, notice how small interactions with customers go. What makes the service good? What could be improved? Adopting these observational skills and these positive habits will actually make you perform better at work. So I think looking back, some of the common mistakes to avoid would be speaking too quietly or too fast. Employers actually want you to be clear and easy to understand. Kind of practice slowing down your speech, avoiding customers or colleagues because you feel shy. Even if you're nervous and if you just smile and say hi, how are you, you can make a big difference. If you don't understand something, ask questions, ask politely. Employers actually prefer that instead of you making mistakes. So at the end, I feel strong communication and customer skills don't just help you get a job, they actually make your work experience way more enjoyable. You will build relationships with your colleagues, your customers and managers, and those connections can actually open up lots and lots of opportunities that you'd never expect. So if you're still building your confidence, don't worry, start small, smile, greet people, practice asking questions, and just focus on making others feel comfortable. Once you've got this skill in place, you'll actually stand out immediately in job interviews and at work. And the best part is that it will also make the rest of your life in Australia so much easier, from making friends to asking for help when you need it. Now that you know how important communication and customer service skills are, let's actually move on to the second skill employers love to see: adaptability and time management. Now, this is another skill that employers really value, especially for part-time jobs. Why? Because part-time jobs often come with unpredictable schedules, last-minute changes, and very, very high-pressure situations. I can tell you that. If you can actually adapt quickly and manage your time well, you will kind of instantly stand out as someone who is reliable and capable. And why these skills matter so much is because employers love people who can go with the kind of flow and still deliver results. In casual and part-time roles, staff members often call in sick, shifts change suddenly, and customers can create unexpected challenges. If you're actually the person who can handle these situations calmly and get the job done, managers will trust you more and likely give you many more shifts. And time management kind of goes hand in hand with adaptability. As an international student, you might have to balance your work, university assignments, and your personal commitments. If you can actually organize your schedule effectively, you'll not only perform better at work, but also avoid feeling overwhelmed. And I have a video on time management, so you can just click here and watch that video. When I was working at Amazon warehouse, my shifts were used to be from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. And that work was, physically exhausting. And to make things harder, there were no buses at 5 a.m. like I told you. I decided to adapt. I used all my savings to buy a car, and that was just a $4,000 car, just so that I could make it work and come back safely. And that was a risk, but it taught me how to problem solve and stay flexible when situations weren't ideal. Time management was another lesson I learned the hard way. Back when I was working at Il Birrificio, the Italian restaurant, I had late night restaurant shifts, and then I had to wake up early for university classes. There were times I wanted to skip work or wanted to skip those morning classes, but I just knew I had to manage my schedule better. That's what I'm here for. So I started using a planner, blocked out time to study, work, and rest, and this kind of helped me keep up with everything without really burning out. So how can you build these skills? I feel like the good news is that adaptability and time management are literally the skills that you can build with practice. Some of the practical tips that from my experience would be just get comfortable with change. Instead of seeing schedule change as a problem, think of them as opportunities to learn. If your manager asks you to swap shifts or cover for someone, you can just say yes when you can. It kind of shows reliability. And definitely use a planner. I'll show you. I have this planner that I use. I think I've shown this earlier, but I just love using this planner, because I can write almost everything here and then just follow it. That's it. Write down all the shifts, classes, and deadlines in this planner. Having everything in one place kind of helps you avoid double booking yourself and makes it easier to plan ahead. Learn to prioritize. Not everything on your to-do list is equally important. Figure out what needs to be done immediately and what can actually wait. And this is especially helpful when we are balancing work and universities. It's very important to communicate with your employer. If you're struggling with a schedule or have exams coming up, always let your manager or the owner of the restaurant or someone know in advance. Most employers are very understanding if you communicate early. That's what I say from my experience. And you should always prepare for the unexpected. Have backup plans. For example, if you rely on public transport to get to work, know an alternative route or have a rideshare app ready on your phone. Common mistakes would be saying yes to everything without checking your schedule. This can actually lead to burnout and definitely missed commitments. Always make sure that you first check your availability before agreeing to that extra shift, and never ever procrastinate on your assignments or responsibilities. See, when you actually leave things for the last minute, any small change can throw your entire schedule off. Panicking when things go wrong is huge. Adaptability is actually about staying calm if something unexpected happens. Take a deep breath and look for solutions instead of focusing on the problems. That's what I used to do. So finally, I would just say that being adaptable and managing your time well can actually make you a huge asset in a workplace. Employers notice when you're the person who can stay composed under pressure and keep everything running. But like I said, these skills will also make your life easier. You'll be able to balance work, studies, and personal life without really constantly feeling stressed. So start small, use a planner, practice staying calm in unexpected situations, and be open to learning. When managers see you can adapt and organize your time, they'll actually rely more on you, and that means more opportunities, and that means more power and growth. So now that you understand how adaptability and time management can actually set you apart, let's move on to the next skill that employers absolutely love: teamwork and initiative. Now in Australia, teamwork and taking an initiative is something really cherished by employers. Employers want people who can actually help them, support their colleagues, and set up something that needs to be done, even if it's not technically in their job description. I've seen this happen so many times. Now, why these skills matter so much in Australia? Workplaces in Australia actually value collaboration. Whether you're in hospitality, retail, or any customer-facing role, you're rarely working alone, and your ability to contribute to the team, help out when things get busy, and kind of taking ownership of your work will actually make you stand out, as per my experience. It's just as important to just looking to add value instead of waiting for someone to tell you what to do. When managers and owners see that you're so proactive, they actually trust you with more responsibilities and often consider you for promotions. Like I said, when I worked at Il Beneficio, I quickly realized that being a team member wasn't just going to be about my job. It was actually about making things easier for everyone. On busy nights, I saw my co-workers were overwhelmed. I would just, step in to help, even if that meant doing tasks that weren't mine. And this attitude made a huge difference. The owner of the restaurant actually noticed that I was dependable and proactive, and eventually promoted me to the restaurant manager. And that promotion, I feel, came not because I was the most experienced, but because I was consistently showing that I cared about the success of the team and ultimately of the business. So be observant and supportive. You just need to pay attention to what's actually happening around you. If a coworker is struggling or customers are waiting too long, ask how you can help, Small actions, for example, like cleaning tables when you're not busy, shows that you're a team player, even if that's not your job description. Ask questions and volunteer. If your manager is looking for someone to take an extra shift, raise your hand. Asking questions when you're actually unsure also shows that you can take care about doing things right. Think about the bigger picture here. Teamwork is about, the success of the entire workplace and not just your role. Now, how can you actually build these skills? Be observant and supportive. Just pay attention to what's happening around you. If a coworker is struggling or customers are waiting too long, ask how you can help. I feel small actions like cleaning tables when you're not busy can actually show that you're a team player. So ask yourself, what I can do right now that will actually help make the team go more smoother. Learn to take ownership. If you make a mistake, own it and fix it quickly. Blaming others or ignoring problems shows a lack of initiative. Managers notice when you're actually responsible and reliable, so bring new ideas to the table. You don't really have to invent the wheel, but if you see a way to improve something, share it politely with your manager. Even if they don't implement it, they'll still appreciate that you're thinking about the business. So my final thoughts on these skills would be that teamwork and initiative are the qualities that turn a good employer into a great one. When manager sees that you care about the team and team success and that you're willing to go that extra mile, they'll see you as someone that they can depend on. And here's the best part. These skills also grow your confidence. When you know you're contributing to your team and you're actually making a difference, you yourself feel motivated and connected to your work. So next time you're at work, ask yourself, what can I do right now to help my team? Is there a small improvement I can suggest or implement? It's literally those little actions that add up, and just like in my journey, you'll find that when you consistently show teamwork and initiative, new opportunities, whether it's more shifts, a pay raise, or even a promotion, will naturally come your way. So now that we've covered teamwork and initiative, let's move on to the final skill, and that is problem solving and resilience. These two actually go hand in hand and can truly make you stand out to employers, especially in Australia. Now, why these skills matter so much? See, in part-time jobs, things will go wrong, as I said. Customers might complain, the team might be short-staffed, or you might get rejected from jobs you really wanted. Employers want people who can actually stay calm under pressure, think clearly, and bounce back from setbacks. Problem solving is actually about finding solutions instead of focusing on the problem. Resilience is your ability to, kind of keep going when things get tough. When you have these skills, you show managers that you are dependable and you can actually handle challenges without falling apart. I still remember there were countless moments in my part-time job where I had to practice these skills. One that stands out was again at the restaurant. I still remember it was the Saturday night, the busiest night of the week, and 2 staff members literally just called in sick at the last minute when we were about to open. We were already packed with customers and I was taking orders, serving tables, and answering phone calls all at the same time. Now, in the past, I might have panicked, but now that I was a manager, instead I took a deep breath and broke that situation down into smaller steps. I quickly reorganized the tables so I could cover more customers, and kind of also asked a co-worker to focus only on drinks while I handled food. And then I made sure that I clearly communicate the same with the kitchen. Was it easy? No, but by staying calm and focusing on the solutions, we actually got through the night. And the owner of the restaurant was so grateful that I didn't let the chaos get on my head. Resilience also plays a big role when I was job hunting. There were times when I applied for dozens of jobs and didn't get even a single response. I know you've been through it. It's frustrating, disheartening, but I reminded myself that rejection wasn't a reflection of my worth. Each no was simply one step closer to a yes. How can you actually build these skills? Staying calm under pressure. When something goes wrong, just take a deep breath before reacting. This small pause can actually help you think more clearly. Just break the problem down. Ask yourself, what is the immediate priority, what I can do right now to make things better? Tackling one small task at a time makes actually a big difference, and it makes you feel manageable. And just ask for help when needed. Problem solving doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. If you feel like you're stuck somewhere, ask a co-worker or the owner or someone to support. You have to kind of reframe your setbacks. Instead of thinking, I failed, I just keep failing, I'm a failure, think, what can I learn from this? This mindset actually builds resilience and kind of keeps you moving forward. Just practice self-care. It's very important. Resilience is not just about working hard. It's about looking after yourself. Make sure that you sleep well, eat proper food, and take time to recharge so you don't burn out. And I think some of the common mistakes to avoid would be reacting emotionally. If you actually end up panicking or you get angry when things go wrong, it often makes the situation go worse. I've been there. Blaming others instead of focusing on the solution. Employers really value people who can actually take the responsibility and work towards fixing the problem. Giving up too quickly, that's also a mistake. Whether it's at work or in your job search, persistence is key. And now some of my final thoughts for this would be problem solving and resilience aren't just valuable for your part-time jobs or full-time jobs. They are literally life skills. I learned them the hard way. Every workplace, no matter what the industry, needs people who can actually handle challenges and just keep going when things get tough. But the good news is that you don't need to be born with these abilities. No one is born with them. You can build them over time. Start by practicing calm thinking, breaking problems down into smaller parts, and seeing setbacks as opportunities to learn. And I would just say that always remember, resilience also means asking for help when you need it. You don't have to do everything alone, like I said. In fact, knowing when to lean on others is a sign of strength. So the next time you're faced with a tough situation, whether it's at work or your part-time job, or it's a busy shift or a difficult customer or a rejection email, which you'll receive lots of them, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, I can handle this. With strong problem solving and resilience, you'll stand out to employers, and you'll stand out as someone who can be trusted to navigate challenges. And those are exactly the kind of employees managers and owners want to keep and promote. Now that we've covered all the 4 skills: communication, adaptability, teamwork, and resilience, let's just wrap up this video with a quick recap and an action plan so you can start building these skills from today. Number 1, practice communication in everyday life. Greet people, make small talk, and use polite phrases. It actually builds your confidence. Number 2, get organized. Use a planner or a calendar to actually manage your time effectively and just stay on top of all your commitments. Number 3, look for opportunities to help. Whether you're at a uni or volunteering or at a part-time job, ask yourself, what can I do right now to support the team? Number 4, challenge yourself. When things actually get tough, when something goes wrong, pause, breathe, and focus on what you can control. Remember, you don't need to master these skills overnight. Start small, focus on one skill at a time, and you will get better with practice. Now, I know starting a new life in Australia can feel really overwhelming. You're adjusting to a new culture, studying and trying to find a job at the same time. But if you actually focus on these 4 skills, you'll build confidence and open doors you didn't even know existed. And here's a little thing. These skills will actually also help you in the long run. They'll make you a better student, a better co-worker, and actually eventually a better candidate when you apply for full-time roles. And I'm saying this from my experience. So take action now, start practicing, stay consistent, and watch how quickly opportunities start to show up. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button because it really helps the channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Now, your next step should be, if you haven't already watched part 1 of this series, where I exactly share how I found my part-time jobs in Australia, you can watch it here, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.